The first week of the course functions as a mini refresher on Python. We'll start by talking about why you should be learning programming in the first place. We'll then talk about why you should be learning Python 3 specifically. Let's talk about why you should learn how to program, and we'll then talk about why specifically you should learn how to program in Python 3. It's true that currently there is lots of prepackaged software available that enables you to analyze and model your data. But relying on this software is problematic for a couple of reasons. Relying on prepackaged software will at some point limit the types of analyses that you can perform, and prepackaged software can even start driving your research agenda. But this is the complete opposite of what it should be. Good research starts by formulating strong research questions first. Once you've formulated these questions, then you need to write the code that helps you answer these questions. If you rely exclusively on prepackaged software, at some point you may find that you're unable to answer your question of interest. If you're still not convinced about programming, here are two more points to consider. With a programming-based approach, you can do essentially anything. The only limitation is your own imagination. In a scientific context, we care deeply about the transparency and replicability of results. That's the only way how science accumulates. You may be working with sensitive data sets that you cannot share with anybody else. However, you can always share your data analysis code. That way, others can learn the exact details of your analysis, and your work becomes both reproducible and transparent. Another way to think about the difference between prepackaged software and programming is to think about the analogy with food. Using prepackaged software is like getting takeout every time you get hungry. Convenient, but expensive. The alternative is to learn the basics of cooking. The approach that we are adopting in this course is the latter. Let's get started by looking at a short code snippet. This code is a good example of a short Python program that's fairly simple, yet it requires you to understand many fundamental concepts of Python. In case it's not clear, let me reveal to you what this program does. The Fibonacci function, as you may have guessed, computes the first n terms of the Fibonacci sequence. The code underneath the function calls the function 10,000 times, asking Python to compute the first 10,000 numbers in the Fibonacci sequence. Then finally, it adds those numbers up. So why should you learn how to program in Python? There are lots of reasons for this. For one, Python is a very clear and powerful programming language. It's easy for beginners, but goes a long way, even in a scientific context. Python also has a very elegant syntax. That makes it easy to read and write, and importantly, to maintain your programs. Python has a large standard library which supports many common programming tasks. It also has a very useful interactive mode for experimenting with code and with your ideas. If at some point you find that Python is not enough, you can always extend Python using other modules written in other languages. Python is also highly portable. It runs on Windows, Mac OS X, Unix, Linux, Solaris, and it even runs on your cell phone. Python is free to download and use, and it has a very large online user community. The latter is an especially important point. If you're having trouble understanding some code segment, I can promise to you that you're not the only one. The odds are that somebody else has been in that exact same situation before. Therefore, if you're having trouble implementing something in Python, the best way to look for a solution is to go online.